Hey, good morning from the office. I'm your host, BKP. It's good to be back this Monday morning. I was trying to figure out why my audio is not working right now. Hold on a minute. Hold on just a second. I will be right with you. Okay, should be working, but it's not. So we'll take a, all right. Anyhow, good morning. Great weekend, right? Beautiful weekend in Georgia. Opportunity to get some things done on the outside of your house, which I did for about 5 hours or more Saturday. Really enjoyed that. Our guest this morning, there are all the ways you can follow us on social media. Our guest this morning, Georgia State House representative from the 9th District State House is Kevin Tanner. He'll be joining us at 8:30. He is also a candidate for the 9th Congressional District. So there's some days when I have to move out of the way and let somebody else explain things. And we're going to do that at 9 o'clock. I want to play pretty much almost the full interview with Marie Bartiromo. Now, I don't always recommend other shows and so forth that often. But Marie Bartiromo, you should watch when she interviews some of these people. Samantha, is it Sydney? What's her name? Is it Sydney Powers? Michael Flynn, General Michael Flynn's attorney. It's an interview that we're going to play in the second half of the show today, okay? And you're going to want to hear it. Okay, they don't even try to hide it. All right, on MSNBC, they don't even try to hide it that they're lying about something, that they're deceptive. You know, as much as we get concerned with YouTube and we get concerned with YouTube and we get concerned with Twitter and Facebook and all the social media ways out there that censor what we're doing. Still yet, I used to say, but let's go back in the 80s. We'll go back in the 80s machine, way back machine. And there was no way to really get out the truth on what happened. You would have Toupee Donaldson, Sam Donaldson, standing on the front of the White House lawn, giving a report of what he said just happened inside the White House. And it would be 10 seconds, and you would say to the clip, you'd say, no, I know they didn't say that. That's not what was said inside the White House. So all of the networks would clip just these little 10-second, 15 seconds and misrepresent everything. They still do, and they don't care. Give me the clip. I can't remember which one it is. It's the one where let me see what it is. I have it here somewhere. It's Greg Price Twitter video. You have that one? Play that one if you can, if it's up and ready. I know I sent you a lot of stuff, and I don't know if that's up and ready. If it is.
You brought up Bill Barr. Peggy Noonan, I want you to listen to this Bill Barr answer to a question about what will history say about this. Wait till you hear this answer. Take a listen.
When history looks back on this decision, how do you think it will be written?
Well, history's written by the winner, so it largely depends on who's writing the history.
I was struck, Peggy, by the cynicism of the answer. It's a correct answer, but he's the Attorney General. He didn't make the case that he was upholding the rule of law. He was almost admitting that, yeah, this is a political job.
When history looks back on this decision, how do you think it will be written?
Well, history's written by the winner, so it largely depends on who's writing the history. But I think a fair history would say it was a good decision because it upheld the rule of law. It upheld the standards of the Department of Justice, and it undid what was an injustice.
It it upheld the rule of law. History written by the winners. Now, Chuck Todd had no problem. I watched this yesterday morning, and he had no problem. And if you're watching, the media is calling General Flynn, but he's still a liar. Doesn't change the fact he lied, okay? Doesn't change the fact he lied. He's still a liar. Obama's come out. They always love in the morning, or these lefties, to give an Obama came out report. They love it. You should see they get like all giddy inside that they get to tell you that Obama came out and said something about rule of law. Obama, right? We're learning more from the released Richard Grenell that forced Schiff to release the transcripts. We're learning a lot about what took place with Michael Flynn. And then the fact we also learned in one of them, I think we're going to talk about that a little later, that CrowdStrike never confirmed that Russia hacked the DNC and lifted those emails. While there's a strong possibility that Seth Rich, who is still dead to this day, never investigated, strong possibility that the DNC staffer might have got those over to Julian Assange. We're checking into that. We're going to talk about that. But history rewritten by the winners. Chuck Todd leading the four. While this is political, they're doing everything they can because this is big news that Flynn, okay, and Sydney, you sent me the name and I had it off guard here. Thanks a lot out there, research department. It is Sidney Powell. Sidney Powell. That's who it is. We're going to listen to that whole interview because there's some things getting ready to happen between here and Election Day that they want to try to stop you from hearing. Now, they are doing everything they can to stop opening the economy. All right. If you are, let me get something up here, a couple things here. Oh, by the way, Anna Maria, right? Is that her name? Number 53. Give me 53. All right. Jerry Stiller died. Okay. Ben Stiller's dad. Jerry died. Was it 92 or something? All right. George Costanza's dad, Frank Costanza, right? And Arthur on Seinfeld, and Arthur Spooner on King of Queens. Just want to say that little sad note. You know this guy. Sorry. You know this guy here, number 52? Now look real close, okay? This guy here said it might be scary to work in the West Wing. Now, it's a little scary to work in the West Wing right now, all right? And give me number 51 really quick. Top White House officials buried CDC advice on reopening. Okay. Another one here. Okay. We're going to talk about this, number 49. Vice President Pence said he would welcome General Flynn back into the White House. Just going over. Number 48, these guys are going to testify before Congress this week, right? And they're going to do it via video conference, okay? White House coronavirus task force members are quarantined, all right? Dr. Anthony Fauci, Dr. Robert Redfield, and Dr. Stephen Hahn These guys are quarantined right now because they came in contact with someone within the White House that tested positive. Don't you want to? I would love for you to write the caption on this one. 47, write the caption, right? U.S. confirms more than 1 million cases. Cases of what? It looks like a virus itself, does it not? No, they got to bring Al out today because we have the shooting here in Georgia, the lynching. We'll get to in a minute. The lynching, okay? Now, right here, number 45. Let's stop here just a minute. White House advisor, it's too scary to go to work. So he said it's a little scary in the West Wing right now. A little scary in the West Wing, all right? Number 44, Trump on staffer testing positive. This is why the whole concept of tests aren't necessarily great, okay? Now, I have taken every risk possible between the start of this pandemic to now. I have flown on an airplane 4 times. Just say it, okay? I have flown on an airplane 4 times. That's right. Now, today makes day 8. I think today is day 8 since I returned from my last airplane trip full. Just saying. We'll see what happens. Feel great this morning. Be pretty bad if I wake up tomorrow and don't feel, but I feel great, man. Another 5 days, do it, boom. They want to stop, okay, this country from opening. It's that simple. Give me number 40. They want to stop this country from opening, and I'm going to tell you my first real opinion why. Because if we open now and we start pushing reopening this country, all right, 20% unemployment, 25 could be up to 25% unemployment, right? If we open now and start opening, the news, which they will probably not report it, but if unemployment is 25% and the following week it's 23, full 2% or whatever, and they have to stop reporting that unemployment claims. Now, there's not enough time, okay? I'm very concerned with the economy and getting Trump reelected. I am. I'm very concerned. It's historically unusual, okay? Now, you and I don't have data. They don't have data on how voters will respond. They don't have data on how voters will respond to a president, forget Trump, a president during a pandemic like this, and reelecting that same president to be the one to bring us through the other side of the economy coming back. Right now, they don't want to tell you Trump is still ahead of Sleepy Joe, Creepy Joe, allegedly rapist Joe Biden, right, with Tara Reid, and others that he likes to touch, smell, feel, all the above, won't come out of the basement. But President Trump is still leading in the polls that say he is best at bringing the economy back. He will deal with the economy better than Sleepy Joe. We know that, okay? So they're bringing out all the big guns. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Not close your eyes. Close your ears for just a second. Just a second. Obama said, well, wait, let me get to that before you do. We have the whistleblower. We got all that today. We're going to get to that. What did Obama say here? We're going to get to that. Number 29. All right. Number 29. Obama plans to heavily campaign for Biden. All right. All right. Now close your ears now. Because what Obama really said this past weekend is, you were my bitch for 8 years, and I'm going to make you my bitch for another 8 years if I get you elected. Period. Okay. Obama, they need Joe elected, because when we play the video from the interview concerning Michael Flynn and what has happened, this goes to the top. Obama, Comey, the whole entire list, Sally Yates, and all of them, they need, okay, Biden elected. The news media needs Biden elected. They have lied to you from day one. There should be, okay, members of the so-called media should be held responsible for what has happened to this country. An American president, private citizens, they should be held responsible. They should be in the list of people tossed in jail. Anyhow, let me get out of that, okay? So they want to stop reopening this country in so many different ways and put the brakes on it. So you don't have to hear a nightly report. Unemployment claims have stopped. They've settled. Okay? No more unemployment claims. The economy's starting back. They don't want you to hear weekly between now and the election that the unemployment rate is coming down. Because let me tell you something, if Trump pushes the opening of this country, which he should, between now and the election, there will be enough evidence we are moving in the right direction. The scary part is they come out, the Office of something and something, I forget who they are exactly, but they say that we will be in high double-digit unemployment all the way through 2021 into 2022, okay? So they got to stop this economy at all cost. They got to say that we're headed into a second pandemic, a second phase in early September, October for this election. And I'm just saying, they got to stop this economy. They're doing everything. Now, number 28, Obama comes out. A chaotic disaster, all right? Now, like I said, don't leave what we're going to talk about at 9 o'clock. We're going to put it up because I tell you what, he cannot afford Trump's second term. He cannot. Chaotic disaster, Obama hits Trump. Coronavirus response warns of disinformation ahead of election. So he wants you to believe that the Trump campaign is going to be putting out all this disinformation before the election. Let me tell you something. I talk every day, and I started weeks ago, and I told you last week. All right, we have to work every single day to see what we could do to help President Donald J. Trump get reelected. And I ask you, what are you actually doing? Because he is running against the DNC. He's running against Joe Biden. He's running against the media, and he's running against a portion of Republicans. Okay. Now, I know you don't like articles from the Daily Beast, but there's an article in the Daily Beast. He's running against some Republicans. This guy's running against everything to try to be reelected. Only you and I. Now, I'm serious. You and I have to get up, work every day, highlight voter fraud where it's at. All right. Let me just stay here. The former president also critical of the Justice Department's directing prosecutors to drop their case against Michael Flynn, warns that the rule of law is at risk. Interesting. How dare you, the rule of law is at risk. Okay. She enjoyed this morning. Number 27, right? She really enjoyed getting to report this. Yasmin Vasugia, or whatever her name is. Obama caused Trump's crisis response an absolutely chaotic disaster. They love reporting this. Let me get you something else I want to talk about. Number 22, obviously, if your employer's asking you to come back to work, but it's too scary to work at the White House, number 22, how could you go to work this morning? Scary to go to work. The New York Times. White House races to contain virus in its ranks. Scary to go to work. Pay attention to that. They're going to do everything. They say that we buried the CDC, buried their recommendations. Folks, if you took a CDC report, okay, I'm telling you now, give me number one. They are a behemoth, a bureaucracy that, hey, they have to keep afloat, okay? It's not about the economy for them. In 2018, the agency employed 10,639 staffers who earned about $1.1 billion. The average pay was $106,000, with doctors earning up to $288,000. All right. They are. Let me see what I have here. Well, I want to show you something. One more thing here. CNN in on it. Okay. Number 9. More states reopen as virus draws close to Trump. They're trying to stop you from going to work. They're trying to stop us from opening the country. They're trying to stop us from going out and making our own decisions. Whether to go to church, not go to church, go to the movie, not go to the movie, go to a restaurant, not go to the restaurant. Doing everything. And then they say, we buried, and let me get one here. I think this is what they call news. Number 12. Do you believe CNN actually put somebody on the White House lawn to say Pence expected at White House today? He's expected to be there. Even after they know people tested positive. All right. I want one more. Here it is, number 16. All right. California, Gavin Newsom, is that his name? You don't want to reopen? Well, Elon Muskie there, the Muskie, yeah. Muskrat Elon threatens to move Tesla headquarters out of California, threatens to move headquarters to Texas or Nevada. That's right. Elon Muskie is getting ready to leave. And we're going to start our 9 o'clock hour with, do you have the one of Keisha Lance Bottoms where I told you the time to start? I can't remember which one that's called. You know the one, it's a CNN video, and I told you a time to start. Can you play that for a second before we take a break? Just about 15 seconds.
As a country.
I want to ask you about Ahmaud Arbery, a young African-American man who would have turned 26 this last week. He was allegedly shot and killed by 2 white men in the state of Georgia. Those 2 men are now facing murder charges. I want you to take a listen to what his father told CNN on Friday night.
Everybody loved him. If you knowed him, you'd have seen he was a very manable, good young man. And, you know, to see him just get lynched like that by a racial mob like that, it's just devastating to our family.
The shooting happened back on February 23rd. Authorities had possession of a now viral video of the shooting from the beginning, but the murder charges were not filed until this past week after the video emerged online and shocked and outraged millions of Americans. Do you think that the 2 men were only charged because the video became public?
I think that's absolutely the reason that they were charged. I think had we not seen that video, I don't believe that they would be charged. And it is, it's heartbreaking. It's 2020, and this was a lynching of an African-American man. And I think that, you know, my heart goes out to his family. But I think, again, it's a part of this bigger.
All right, we're going to take our break. Keisha Lance, I'm trying to put my earpiece in. You caught me. Keisha Lance Bottom, mayor of Atlanta, actually doing an audition for Joe Biden. We're going to play the other video. Now, I told you maybe was it a week or two ago when Stacey Abrams, I talked to you about James Clyburn's endorsement, which he has already basically endorsed Keisha Lance Bottoms to be Joe Biden's. You may be watching right there, Joe Biden's running mate. Lynching. Oh my God. Take a break, Kevin.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on-site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Circuit World has 9-piece living room packages at incredible prices. Get this stylish sofa and love seat, 3 tables, 2 lamps, 43-inch 4K TV, and stand, all for only $1699.99 or $129.99 a month. Or get this 9-piece living room and reclining sofa and reclining love seat, now only $1999.99 or $149.99 a month. These packages are amazing. Stop in today at one of our 5 locations and get the furniture you've always wanted at Circuit World.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Ace is your healthful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge. We have your new house in stock.
Hey, folks, we're back. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office. We're North Georgia's only live online morning show. And, there's an election going on out there. We have a lot of candidates that are trying to get their word out through this pandemic, through virtual online shows, radio broadcast, or their own YouTube channels and Zoom and whatever. So we're trying to help get you, the voters, the most information and bring as many candidates on the show as we can. Right now, joining us, Georgia State Representative, 9th District, and also candidate for the 9th Congressional District, Kevin Tanner, is with us. Representative Tanner, how are you this morning?
I'm doing well, Brian. Thank you very much for having me on this morning.
Let me say this: the Governor Nathan Deal, which has endorsed your campaign, just released a quote saying, "It in these uncertain times, Kevin Tanner is the conservative leader we need in the Congress to get our economy roaring again. During my time as governor, Kevin and I worked closely to advance policies to lead Georgia out of the worst economic recession in our state's history, which created thousands of new private sector jobs across the 9th District and becoming the #1 state to do business in Congress." Okay. He says, goes on to say he will do the same with President Trump to prioritize our economy and protect North Georgia principles and values. Now, let me just say this: Governor Deal thoroughly understands what it was like the day that furloughs and the economy was heading south in Georgia, not just Georgia, across this country, in the economic collapse of 2009 and 10. You're faced with that again, Representative Tanner. You've got to go back before if the voters decide to send you to Washington, D.C., you have to go back and put a budget together here somewhere around the 1st of June. It's not been determined, but there's 10 days left in this session. You talk about appropriations and some of the things like the governor says here about you. What do you think will happen as far as the budget? The Governor Kemp is asking for a 14% reduction. And, what say you, sir?
Well, first of all, I appreciate Governor Deal's support and his endorsement. I think one of the things that Governor Deal understands is the #1 priority of the new Congress is going to have to be to work closely with President Trump to get this economy back going. And I cannot tell you how thankful I am that we have a President Trump in the White House and not a President Hillary Clinton to lead us out of this time that we're in economically. No one better than President Trump. Governor Deal understands I've worked from a local government perspective and a state government perspective to create jobs and to work hard on the economy. And he knows I'm the only candidate that understands the economy and how to get that done. As far as the state budget goes, thank goodness that in Georgia we have to balance a budget, just like everyone listening does at home and in our small businesses, we have to balance budgets. So we're going to have some very, very tough decisions that's going to have to be made in Georgia. We're going to have to cut about 14% out of the state, every department's budget. That's not easy to do. That affects real lives, but that's something we're going to have to look at, and it's going to be a difficult process. Appropriations process has already started here in Georgia with joint House and Senate committee meetings. I'm looking forward to us continuing that work. And I wish the federal government was under the same mandate, and that's why I support a balanced budget amendment at the federal level.
Well, if elected, you would go from and let's be clear, when we say Georgia and we talk about recession, we have gone from in 60 days from the greatest economy in the world at that time to now we hear recession, we hear 25% unemployment. And, when you went to the legislative session in January, when it first started this year, everybody was walking into good sales tax revenues, solid economy, jobs on, growing on a daily basis in Georgia to just all of a sudden in 60 days, you have to go back and finish a session that is nowhere near like you started. you got to do that, and then you'd have to go to DC because this is going to take right into 2021. What are some of the things as far as the cuts that you may see coming in Georgia that we just have to deal with, knowing it's the only way to get through this?
Well, it's going to affect all departments across the board, and nothing's off the table as far as departments go, which includes the Board of Regents, the university system, K-12 education, Department of Family and Children's Services, Department of Behavioral Health, all the departments here in Georgia, Department of Transportation. So it's going to have an effect, and the governor has asked all departments to bring a plan of what it would look like to cut 14%. Now, the purpose of pushing, and the Georgia House is pushing to wait to go back to June, the purpose of that is so that we can have May numbers. I think that's going to be important for us to have the best picture we can of what this revenue is actually going to look like moving forward. It's challenging because it's a moving target right now. The other thing I'll say is I've gotten a lot of phone calls and talked to a lot of people over the last several days that have two jobs. They may have a full-time job and they have a very part-time seasonal job, like at the outlet mall. And a lot of those people are have started drawing unemployment, not because they requested it. So one of the things that I intend to do this week is work with our Department of Labor. We need to shore up those numbers to understand really what that unemployment number looks like, because I believe that number is actually a little inflated because of the seasonal part-time workers that have been automatically turned in for unemployment. Had a teacher call me and say, look, I worked last year at this store, made less than $300 all year, but now I am collecting unemployment and I'm collecting over $300 a week. I don't want this money. I'm a teacher. I have a full-time job. Please tell them to stop sending it to me. So that's something that we've got to address, because again, that's a waste of taxpayer dollars, and that's going to be important to get a handle on.
You know, I want to cover a couple more things. I know through the 9th district, and you're very familiar with a lot of the areas. What are you hearing out there in this district, 9th district, that you're running for, about reopening the country? Continued support for the president. What are you hearing about from small business that say, hey, we got to go back to work, or is it too early? What are you hearing out there, Mr. Tanner?
Well, everyone really has a little bit different opinion on that. I think the general consensus is that we need to open the economy back up and allow people to make their own decisions, businesses to be able to determine for themselves, is it too early? If it is, they can stay closed. If they're able to modify their business in a way that makes them feel safe, then that's fine. But I think it's time for government not to be the nanny state and to allow small businesses to be able to make their own decisions. And I have traveled the district, and we've highlighted some of these businesses on our YouTube channel. It's amazing at the innovation that's occurring across Northeast Georgia right now. People can be innovative. Let's let them do that. Get government out of the way. Let people be able to be innovative. As far as President Trump goes, the support for President Trump across this district has never been stronger. I supported President Trump from day one. I'm thankful that God has sent him to this country, and I don't know what we would be in today if it wasn't for him facing this economic crisis without a man like President Trump leading our country. And I feel like 80% of the people that's across this 9th congressional district agrees with.
Well, you know, saying that, there's been a couple debates, and there's some advertising now going out that's pretty strong, where, you know, some of the candidates we're starting to see the division in some of the candidates. Most of the candidates say, you know, hey, I support Congressman Doug Collins, and I understand there's going to be differences. There's, you know, whoever's going to be the next congressman or congresswoman in the district. And they also say, well, you know, we support President Trump. It's very clear that Club for Growth has not been very favorable to the president or Congressman Collins here recently. What say you? Because I do know your opponent, Matthew Gertler, has the endorsement of Club for Growth there. So what concerns do you have there? And let me just roll this in so you can have some time just to say what you want. You're also being called out as the establishment candidate. So address those two things right there, if you could.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, the Club for Growth and that endorsement is very, very concerning. I think you were there, Brian, at the Fannin County GOP dinner early on before COVID, and there was a few of the candidates that had the opportunity to speak at that event. That was before qualifying. And I was the only candidate that publicly there thanked Congressman Collins and expressed my support for him at that event. I think since some folks have done some polling about the popularity of Congressman Collins, they now are jumping on the bandwagon. But Doug has been a friend, and I've supported him for many years. And he has done a tremendous job for this district, not only for this district, but he has done a tremendous job supporting and being the main defender of President Trump in the Congress. So he's done a great job. We've got one candidate that's running who tried to take out Congressman Collins a few years ago. Then we have another candidate that's cozied up with a group who is the same group that is anti-Trump, clearly. Trump has called it a phony organization publicly, so that's on the record. It's not an opinion. They're clearly anti-Doug Collins. They have slammed Doug Collins in our own district with millions of dollars in TV ads, trying to take Congressman Collins down. And now they're supporting an individual who has clearly not made any indication that he supports Congressman Collins. And he's clearly also made a public statement he didn't vote for Trump initially. So I'm very concerned about that. I think that Doug Collins needs our support. He's earned our support. President Trump trusts Doug Collins, and I trust him. And I don't trust groups who come in from Washington, special interest groups, attacking our congressman. That's the establishment, these groups for these special interest groups. Now, as far as someone saying that I'm the establishment, that's pretty comical. I would ask them to come and spend a day in my life, spend a day on the farm raising chickens, come spend a day being a light commercial contractor, come spend a day raising 4 daughters, having a wife who's a teacher, come spend a day walking in my shoes. Talk to other legislators who serve with me who will tell you that Kevin Tanner has never, not a single night has he spent in Atlanta during session. I come home every night to handle my personal business. Ask the lobbyists who invite me to go out to dinner all the time, and I never do because I go home. I handle my personal business. Ask the citizens that I serve now about the fact that every single Saturday during session, I hold a legislative breakfast where I listen to them and their concerns. So I'm as far away from an establishment candidate as you can get. But what I do know and what scares the other candidates is I have the broadest base of knowledge to really understand the issues, which is important. We do not have time for on-the-job training. We need a business person who understands how to grow business, and I've grown and sold multiple businesses. And President Trump needs that type of support in Congress, and someone who's not afraid to take a strong stand against these special interest groups that are now coming into our homes, into our district from Washington, trying to tell us who to vote for. I personally do not like that. I think the good people of the 9th Congressional District are very capable of sending one of their own who understands their issues. My family's been in this congressional district for 220 years. No one has deeper roots. No one understands it better than I do.
Well, I'm not endorsing any candidates. And when I say that, also that goes for Congressman Doug Collins. I mean, just the facts are there in the 9th district. The voters continued to vote him in. So that's up to them. He wins 80-20 in the district. And a couple years ago, as you said, I think it was 4, several people decided to challenge him because they didn't like some of his votes. And I'm not going to say I totally disagree with them, but they challenged, and he still won the majority of that vote without a runoff. So, I mean, the voters in the 9th district have spoken as far as how they feel about Congressman Collins. I do not feel myself as a voter that the next congressman has to go up there and be Congressman Collins, but in the reality, I do know Club for Growth is no friend of President Trump. So that's the only thing I do know that. And I do know there's some concerns of some that Representative Gertler has embraced them, and they are supporting him in this race.
Yeah, I'm very concerned about that. And, I would just encourage listeners and voters, because look, at the end of the day, I really was not interested in running for Congress. I made the decision after folks came to me and said, Kevin, we need someone who understands how to build businesses. We need someone who understands our agriculture community. We need someone who understands bureaucracy and how it works. We need a real leader in Washington. We have too many talking heads in D.C. today. We need someone who's effective, who understands how to get things done. After much prayer, because I love my life the way it is, Brian, but after much prayer, I decided if I'm not willing to use my God-given abilities and talents to try to make a difference, to follow in a great congressman's footsteps like Doug Collins, and then prior to him, Nathan Deal. We've had great leadership for 30 years in this congressional district. I just hope that the good citizens, and I really have confidence in them, that they'll do their homework, not just listen to a 30-second political Facebook ad, not just listen to a group that says, oh, this guy's the most conservative or this guy's the most pro-gun. The reality is, philosophically, everyone's running is probably pro-Second Amendment. There's no one more pro-Second Amendment than I am. So you've got to look past some of those talking point issues to see who can really do the job, who can really get the economy going, who can really not only say they support President Trump, but can actually bring good policy forward. That's why people have called me the most effective conservative representative in the Georgia House, is because I'm unapologetically conservative, but I actually get something done. That's why Governor Deals released this latest endorsement quote, because he knows in the situation we find ourselves in today, it is too critical not to send someone to Washington that actually knows what they're doing and can get things done. My family is depending on Washington getting out of the way, balancing a budget, getting rid of the regulations, and allowing small businesses like my small business to get back to roaring again like we were under President Trump's economy.
That being said, there's and putting all that together, there's a lot of concern within the Republican Party, and that some are saying hold off on any more bailouts, any more federal aid. And you have states that are looking. You look at the state of Georgia here, $1 billion in sales tax revenue loss, and concerns about the budget in a recession and trying to come back out of it. Do you think there is a package that should be put together to help states through this, that can separate the states that are trying to just pack their pension plans or take advantage and help their failing economies that were in the tank before their financial problems before this took place? Or are you in the camp of let's just hold on and let the economy grow out of this and see what happens? What say you?
Well, number one, I do not support the federal government getting involved in bailing out failed liberal-run states that were already in dire straits before this latest situation with the economy. Number two, I support the federal government getting out of the way and allowing states to do their jobs. And to me, that means several things. Number one, when the 85 bridge collapsed, and as chairman of transportation in my house, I had a front row seat for that. What the federal government did is they brought some resources to bear, but they didn't bring their regulations. That's why you saw a project move at lightning speed to get finished. We can do that. We can get Georgia moving, but we need the federal government to get out of the way with their overburdensome regulations when it comes to infrastructure, education, Medicaid funding, and other things. Take Medicaid funding. That needs to be in a form of block grants to the state. We can do a much better job. What I'm concerned about with any additional bailout packages is the waste that's occurring. I assure you of one thing. A year from now, when the stories are written about the stimulus package. The amount of waste that is went out, the amount of pork that has went out is going to be more than the dollars that went to actually serve and our small businesses and the people who needed it and deserved it. I'm hearing too many stories about that waste. President Trump has the very best intentions, and his desire is to do the right thing. The problem is the bureaucracy that's been there under Obama, that's still entrenched in that system, works to undermine him. Those in Congress are more interested in putting a pork project into a stimulus package than they are actually getting those dollars into the hands of citizens who actually need that and small business owners. So I would have to carefully look at any package that goes out, but I'm very, very concerned about us spending any more money from the federal government. Quite frankly, Brian, here's the problem. We don't have the money to spend. Our deficit continues to grow. Our debt continues to grow. The federal government has a hard time bailing anyone out. They're the ones that need the bailout. That's why we've got to get our budget balanced. We've got to get spending under control at the federal level. Georgia can take care of itself if the federal government will get out of the way. What I don't want to do is have to take care and pay for New York and California's failures with the Georgia taxpayer dollars.
I understand that. Let me get a couple quick things so we can wrap up here. Campaigning, the world as we know it has changed, especially the United States as I know it has changed. Campaigning, I say this jokingly, by now I don't know how many campaign barbecues I would have under my belt, no pun intended, by this time, right? You know, that's campaigning in the South, and I love it, and I enjoyed getting out. How are you getting your message out? And with 9 candidates, are you able to do any kind of internal tracking of how this campaign overall is going?
Well, it is a unique time, but Brian, I think that's another thing that's got to be the way we judge our candidates, because we have to be innovative. We have to think outside the box, just like President Trump's done in D.C. and just like the next congressman's going to have to do to help him get this economy going. But we are doing a lot of phone calls. We're doing a lot of Zoom meetings and meet and greets, and we're relying heavily on social media. And we've been up on television now for almost 4 weeks with our campaign ads, pushing those out. But we're having to rely on that type of messaging. I'm now getting to some one-on-one meetings with some folks across the district, but there's still a lot of people that are concerned. And of course, having large group meetings is difficult. When this happened, we had 5 large meet and greets with a couple of hundred folks each already planned. All of those had to be canceled. So it has been challenging, but as far as the campaign, I think it's going very well. We've got great support, just like in the area you're in this morning, Brian, with Sheriff Stacey Nicholson and Sheriff Dane Kirby and Sheriff Mac Mason up in Union County, up to 515 corridor. All are good friends, all have endorsed, along with a lot of other local officials. Having Governor Deal's endorsement support is great. We've got others all across the district, so they're helping us get our message out. But I keep telling people I am available. People know that I represent in Atlanta now. Every Saturday morning legislative breakfast, always have given out my personal cell phone number. And before we go today, Brian, I want to make sure I give your listeners that personal cell phone number and invite them to call me if they have any questions.
You know, I want to go, and this is the last question. I want to go back to the Capitol just one more time, because I have concerns, like many Georgians, of what's going on with the last 10 days. I'm for sure Lieutenant Governor Duncan and House Speaker Ralston and Governor Brian Kemp are discussing those last 10 days and what legislation they're going to try to get on the floor. Is there any particular legislation that you know we will see in the last 10 days, or have you guys been told, the representatives, hey, start putting your priorities together, we got 10 days? How is that looking, one more time, as far as not just the budget, a lot of the legislation people are wondering it's going to get on the floor or not?
I can't speak for the Senate, but I can tell you in the House, over the last several weeks, we have had our research group talking to the chairs of the various committees, asking them for a list of must-pass legislation that is important, that needs to pass this session for various reasons. So that list is being compiled, and it's going to be looked at by leadership and others. So when we go back in, we got a clear plan of work forward. We've already started virtual meetings with the Appropriations Committee to get a head start. The speaker's authorized for other committees to hold virtual meetings also if need be. But when we go in session, the House will have a clear path forward of must-pass legislation that we can work on. Keep in mind, 10 legislative days doesn't mean that we can't have other days in those days between those that are not counted as legislative days. It can be committee meetings, but we got a lot of work to do. But the biggest issue is the budget, and the biggest issue is balancing the needs of Georgians with the fact that we have to balance that budget. And that's the challenge ahead of us. Everything else is important, but nothing compares to that.
Okay, folks, before we leave here, let me just say this is Georgia House Representative 9th District, Kevin Tanner. We've been talking about the legislative session in Georgia that's not completed, that they have to finish up in June. But also right now, Kevin Tanner is running for 9th Congressional District to fill the position. Doug Collins has chose to run for Senate. So Kevin Tanner, Representative Tanner, let people know, because we try to do this here to help out because the way things are. How can people get in touch with you? Because he says, hey, he's going to give you the number. You can call and ask your own questions. How can people get in touch with you, Representative Tanner?
My website is www.votekevintanner.com, votekevintanner.com. My cell phone number, I'm going to give it to you twice. So it's 678-776-5059. Again, 678-776-5059.
There you go, folks. Call him yourself. Ask the questions. We're trying to bring all the candidates we can to you. Thank you, Representative Tanner. We know you got a busy day of campaigning. We appreciate you always coming on the show.
Thank you, sir. Have a great day.
All right. That is, again, House Representative Kevin Tanner. Sorry about the noise there. House Representative Kevin Tanner from the 9th District. Now, I wanted to venture in, and it's starting. Let's say we've got about 30 days. It's 5/11, June 9th. Oh, today is the last day you can register to vote in this election, too. This is it. Today is the last day. I'm pretty positive that you can register to vote in this primary election. But it's starting to you're going to see it separate in the next 4 weeks, and maybe get a little back and forth, whether they call it in sports a little chippy out there, because Gertler is putting some stuff out, calling by name establishment candidates and one thing after another, and then he is endorsed by Club for Growth. So we'll keep looking in a little deeper into this race. But hey, tonight, don't forget White County residents out there. You have an open probate seat. I think his name's Judge Baker, 38 years, retiring. You have an open probate seat. 4 candidates tonight at 6 o'clock. I will be moderating that debate on fyntv.com. And then at 7:45, we will start the sheriff for White County. 5 candidates there. We'll start that one at 7:45. Both of them be an hour and a half. I'll be doing both of them. I'll be a little groggy come morning. Is that what it is? Groggy. Take a break. We'll be right back. We got some video to watch.
Circuit World has complete queen bedroom packages at amazing prices. Get this queen bed, dresser and mirror, 1 nightstand, bedding set, and free 32-inch TV, all for only $1799.99 or $129.99 a month. Or get this complete queen bedroom set and sleep in style, also for only $1799.99 or $129.99 a month. What an incredible deal! Stop in today at one of our 5 locations and get the furniture you've always wanted at Circuit World.
Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
I'm Jeff Riblett, President of Asset Protection Group. As a certified financial planner and with 20 years experience, I've helped thousands of families and business owners create a tremendous amount of wealth. Fortunately, most of that wealth has been protected. Don't allow an unforeseen life event, such as a nursing home stay or the next market meltdown, destroy your family's wealth. Be smart. Call me. Let's determine how best to protect your assets and preserve your wealth.
It's been 4 generations of family ownership, tens of thousands of customers, and more Chevys than we'd ever be able to count. And more than 60 years later, when we say Days gets it done, we still mean it. With the North Georgia Mountains lowest Chevy prices, a huge selection, and outstanding customer care. See Days Chevrolet in Jasper, and let's get it done. Days Chevrolet. Days gets it done. Find new roads.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on-site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Circuit World has 9-piece living room packages at incredible prices. Get this stylish sofa and love seat, 3 tables, 2 lamps, 43-inch 4K TV, and stand, all for only $1699.99 or $129.99 a month. Or get this 9-piece living room and reclining sofa and reclining love seat, now only $1999.99 or $149.99 a month. These packages are amazing. Stop in today at one of our 5 locations and get the furniture you've always wanted at Circuit World.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Ace is your healthful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge. We have your new house in stock.
Days As Georgia opens back up, it's time to come back to Days Chevrolet in Jasper with huge savings on the North Georgia Mountain's biggest selection of pre-owned vehicles. All makes, all models, all with low miles and a super low price. Or buy new and get 0% financing for 84 months on every single Silverado 1500 or Equinox at Days Chevrolet in Jasper.
Days Chevrolet. Days gets it done.
Find new roads.
Hey, folks, we're back. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. Let me say this, and I've said it for weeks on end. Who's going to pay the bills? During the break, just got a special called meeting for the city of Blue Ridge. And I find it interesting. Right now, the city of Blue Ridge is wanting to annex 515 north of the city all the way to Morganton. And then the city of Blue Ridge wants to annex Highway 5 about 2.5 miles down Highway 5. Now, once the annexation takes place, if that's correct, if I said that correctly, once it takes place, then the property owners that touch it can ask to be annexed into the city. Okay. Whole lot of shaking and baking going on there, folks. You need to pay attention to that. Now, right, wrong, and different. Is that what they say? But the city wants to annex just the highway. So you cannot petition if you have, let's say you have Toccoa Lumber. Just saying, Toccoa Lumber. The property of whoever owns Toccoa Lumber does not touch the city limits, so they cannot petition the city for annexation and then have the county approve it. Okay? So to touch, the city has to annex 515 to Morganton, and I think 2.5 miles down Highway 5, which is going to be a 4-lane. Then those properties can start annexing into the city. Okay, long story short, didn't intend to do that, but I find it interesting, number 42 on their list of things to do at this special called meeting on the 19th of May, which would be Monday. I don't know. Revenue shortfall and delinquent taxes. Interesting. Revenue, start looking for your county meetings, okay? Board of Education, maybe, okay? Your county, city, Board of Education meetings, and start talking about shortfall and delinquent taxes. Watch those on the agenda. Because let me tell you something, anybody out there that tells you that we are good and they continue to build these multi-million, let me just show you number 2. We'll just do this really quick and we'll get off of it, okay? Number 2, Georgia agencies told to plan billions in spending cuts due to pandemic. Now, don't think that Governor Brian Kemp, you know who sends you your money, right? When you have LMIG grants, whatever, we're not going to get stuck on anything. When you get all these grants, you get a lot of money. Counties and cities get a lot of money from the state. Okay? And if the state don't have a lot of money to pay certain people, they're certainly not going to send you all kinds of money in the next couple of years if they don't have it. So you better buckle up. I've said it. Watch your county commissioners in your city. Here it is. Give me number 3. With the coronavirus pandemic shutdown and the recession hitting state finances hard, yes, 25%, Governor Brian Kemp's budget office and leaders of the House and Senate Budget Committee sent a memo to agencies asking them to develop a new spending proposal for fiscal 2021, which begins July 1st. The amount they should expect to cut 14%. No exceptions. That went out, no exceptions. Remember this one, these are a couple days ago, but number 4, just to talk about it, number 4 again, all right? Georgia tax revenue drops $1 billion in April as pandemic takes its toll. So they want to get March, April, and May's numbers, the state, appropriations committees. They want to get March, April, and May numbers, sales tax revenue, to see if it went down and if there's an indication it's coming up and trending, okay? If May starts trending up a little bit, now the governor opened, and we're not going to get into my likes and dislikes of Brian Kemp, but the governor opened the state of Georgia for a couple reasons, because there's nothing wrong with opening, number 1, and number 2, we had to see as a state if the V is going to be accurate, because although President Trump took Governor Kemp to task, Georgia will probably be the first indicator, one of the first indicators in the country to say whether the economy is going to head back north, okay? Meaning up for some of you out there, north. And if so, then they may be able to plan appropriately to see how long before revenue is going to be restored in the state that will sustain the budget that they've had for several years. That being said, pay the bills. Be careful. Be very careful if your state, if your county and city governments, now you're going into budget. I know it's May, but you're going to tip over in July, and you're going to start budget meetings about November. All right, September, October, November for your county in the late of the year. And they've got to look at revenue and see what the next year is going to be to set new budgets for next year. So anyhow, I just want you to watch for that. Now let's change direction here. Okay, let's change direction. I want to play this interview. I may stop it at a couple places where we could talk. Hey, before we start the new recording, I would like to get some good numbers. I'd like to figure out how to get some good numbers. There's 9 candidates, okay? 9 candidates for the 9th Congressional District. They have been invited to 3 debates. I think we are the only debate, the one that I held about with Towns County, Union, and Rabun. Republican Party, I think we're the only debate all 9 were present. Okay, all 9. But all 9 have been invited to 3 debates. You've had an opportunity to see all 9. You can go watch them. I'd like to get some polling data and pull 5 out. Okay, I just do. 9 is tough. I like to pull 5 of the top out. Don't get angry with me, because I'd like to talk to them about open borders. I'd like to get in depth on immigration. I'd like to get in depth with them on the Fed. I'd like to get in depth with them on the Constitution. There's a lot of things that I really like to drill down in where the 9th Congressional District candidates are concerned. Hey, send me a message. Let me know what you think of trying to get the top 5. And that could be tough to figure out. Let me just say this, okay? It's not my place to bring your campaign along. And let me, before you misunderstand what I'm saying, when you went down and paid $5,300 to be on the ballot, okay, you couldn't expect me and our organization to push your campaign north itself. We can't help that. We hate it if you don't have enough money to fund your campaign and move it forward like 3 or 4 of the candidates do that are spending. I wish you well, and I've tried to give you interviews, but I'd like to get the top 5, whether that angers some or not, so I can get real in-depth information before June 9th and you go out there and vote. All right, let's go to the interview with Powell, okay? I may cut it a couple times, Marie Bartiromo, but as I always say, let me defer to somebody that really does an amazing job, and let's go to that interview. Are you ready? If you are, let's start it, please. I think I said 1 minute or something. I forget what I gave you a start time on that one. It's a Fox interview with Marie Bartiromo, and I gave you a start time on it.
On this, Sidney, he's got to sign off on the motion. When are you expecting that to happen?
I would expect it to happen tomorrow or sometime early this week. It's a matter of the prosecutor's actual discretion. Judge Sullivan, according to a couple of Supreme Court decisions, I'm sure he will follow the law there and sign off on it.
Now, I know that there were a few things that we learned in these transcripts that were released as well. And in terms of the way they violated General Flynn's rights, they did not mention the 1001. Tell me about Section 1001 and why that's important, Sidney.
Well, it's the statute that makes it a federal felony to lie to agents. These agents specifically schemed and planned with each other how to not tip him off that he was even the person being investigated. In fact, according to Comey's testimony that's attached to the exhibits they filed in the motion to dismiss, they just simply said, you know, we'd like to send a couple of agents by to talk to you. And of course, General Flynn said, sure. And he saw them as allies. They encouraged him to stay that way. They deliberately did not tell him about 1001 because they didn't want to trigger the slightest suspicion in his mind that he was being investigated or should be concerned about anything. So they kept him relaxed and unguarded deliberately as part of their effort to set him up and frame him. We do have the agent's raw notes, but we do not have the original 302. And we now know from additional text messages produced that there were substantial alterations to the 302s. We have some of those changes between February 10th and 11th, and those are attached as exhibits to one of our briefs that are available on my website.
So, you know, Sidney, I want you to walk through this timeline for us because they also violated White House protocol by ambushing.
I want you to stay right there, okay? Back it up about 5 or 6 seconds before they start, because we're going to let Sidney Powell tell us about the White House timeline. Now, as you can see, it was total violation. They schemed and planned all along. They deliberately, the Section 1001, which you can research, but they still don't have the original 302. And that is the FBI. The interview report, okay, the FBI agents do reports, 302. She is telling you they know it's been altered several times, the 302. Now, Obama had the audacity of hope to come out and hope that he could stop President Trump because he knows he's at the time. Stop. And he says himself, Law and order, really. So let's cut where you start. Let's let Sidney Powell give us the timeline on this, because this is far from over. They are scum. Go ahead.
Through this timeline for us, because they also violated White House protocol by ambushing him. And we know that. We've played that soundbite of Jim Comey saying, oh, it was chaotic. I just sent a few agents over there and just figured it would be better to do it that way. So let's go through the General Flynn crossfire razor timeline. And that begins on August 15th, when Peter Strzok, then FBI agent, sent to his girlfriend a text saying, to the extent saying something like, well, I wish I could believe what you said in Andy's office, but we need an insurance policy. That was discussed in McCabe's office. The following day, on August 16th, they opened a crossfire razor probe into General Flynn. And then on August 17th, FBI agents were sent to a presidential briefing for nominee Trump. They did so why? You think they just were trying to assess General Flynn to try to get something on him then as well in that briefing?
Oh, that's what one of the agents testified to the Inspector General. It's in his report that came out in December. They were specifically, or he was specifically sent into that briefing to assess and gauge General Flynn's mannerisms, to collect what information he could, because General Flynn was there to notice his reaction to any mention of Russia. And that was done all expressly in case they needed to interview him later, i.e. if Trump was elected and General Flynn was put in the White House.
Unbelievable. So fast forward to January 2017, Sidney, because this morning, President Obama is out trashing this exoneration. He's basically saying that the rule of law is being lost and that there's no precedent for all of this. So we go to January 2017 and February 2017. The morning of January 4th, the FBI drafts a document to close the Flynn probe, crossfire razor. They wanted to close it. They had nothing, so they want to close it. So the next day, later that afternoon, Peter Strzok texts, don't close the razor yet. And the 7th floor is involved. And then there's a meeting in President Obama's Oval Office. Talk to us about that, Sidney, because Sal Yates was there, Jim Comey was there, John Brennan was there, James Clapper was there, briefing President Obama in the Oval Office on the Russia probe. Joe Biden and Susan Rice were there as well. This was January 5th, 2017. Walk us through it.
Exactly. Well, the day before, Comey had found and McCabe had found the transcripts of Flynn's call with Kislyak.
I want to go back. I don't know if you're listening inside the studio. I want to go back, not even 30 seconds or whatever, where she's naming everybody that was in the meeting. Everybody that was in the meeting when they said the 7th floor, and I think you out there, the audience, knows the 7th floor being involved at the FBI, who that is. That's the top scum as you can get. And then she goes on to talk about who was in the meeting. We've talked about that last week. Can you go back just far enough to get that? Do you know where I'm at?
Sal Yates was there, Jim Comey was there, John Brennan was there, James Clapper was there, briefing President Obama in the Oval Office on the Russia probe. Joe Biden and Susan Rice were there as well. This was January 5th, 2017. Walk us through it.
Exactly. Well, the day before, Comey had found and McCabe had found the transcripts of Flynn's call with Kislyak, and he briefed Clapper on it immediately. Clapper then immediately went and briefed President Obama on it. Then they have the Oval Office meeting on the 5th. Comey admits in his testimony that the FBI are the people that unmasked General Flynn, our people, whatever that means. And at the meeting on the 5th, Sally Yates was stunned because Obama mentions to her out of the blue about the call and the transcript of the call. She knew nothing about it because Comey hadn't briefed DOJ. Yes. Yes.
Yep.
So then they dispatched Comey the very next morning to brief President Trump only on the salacious aspects of the dossier on January 6th to set the news hook for BuzzFeed and CNN to run with the dossier they knew was a lie. Then Peter Strzok is watching CNN report on that and text about he and Priestap sitting there watching it and using it as a pretext to go interview some people. So the whole thing was orchestrated and set up within the FBI, Clapper, Brennan, and in the Oval Office meeting that day with President Obama.
So you think this goes all the way up to the top to President Obama?
Hold on. We're going to come back to that. All right. It was set up from the top. Like I told you, folks, there's things when it's time for me to defer. Now, I will tell you this, Marie Bartiromo, she's probably getting ready to touch the third rail there at Fox. I don't know how they're letting her continue on because let me see, make sure if I have a text here that I need. Okay. All right. Violated White House protocol, August 16th, Strzok to his girlfriend. We always have talked about the insurance policy. Presidential nominee briefing, Trump, the nominee. Okay, so they go in because they know Flynn's going to be there, and they're watching his eyes. Hey, you keep an eye on, you look directly at his eyes. If I say Russia, see if he blinks twice for Vladimir. Okay, I'm serious. So they're in there on the 17th, okay, as they're briefing presidential nominee. Let me say this, when you become the nominee, you immediately get whisked in somewhere, okay, and they start briefing you on national security issues. You go through the clearances, and you start getting briefed on national security issues. Isn't it interesting? Biden is completely a part of the crooked cabal, all right, to stop Trump, is now going to be briefed on national security issues. Interesting. Just, I don't want to go there. So they go to talk to Trump because he's now the nominee, all right? And they start briefing him on national security, but they want to see they want to check Flynn's body language out. No joke, you heard it yourself here. Okay. Obama's talked about the rule of law. What have we talked about here? The seventh floor, which we know what the seventh floor is over at the FBI, the scum. We talked about the fifth, the meeting. We talked about that last week, all right, in the Oval. Biden was there, Yates there, Clapper, right, Brennan, who all, Susan Rice. They're all in the meeting, okay? The crooks, the whole list that should be brought up on charges and sent to prison. In the meeting on the 5th, if you were in that room on the 5th, you should go to prison. And then we have talked about it here the very next day on the 6th, okay? Comey heads to Trump Tower to talk to Trump, and then it's put out there, the hook, as she called it, for BuzzFeed. It was all a setup. Everything's a setup. Seth Rich is dead. We have reason to believe now that Russia, from CloudStrike, maybe did not hack the DNC server. So let's go back to this interview. Did you back it up like 8 or 9 seconds or whatever? Because I want to hear Obama. We want to be clear on what she says concerning President Obama. Let's go back to that interview.
Aspects of the dossier on January 6th to set the news hook for BuzzFeed and CNN to run with the dossier they knew was a lie. Then Peter Strzok is watching CNN report on that and text about he and Priestap sitting there watching it and using it as a pretext to go interview some people. So the whole thing was orchestrated and set up within the FBI, Clapper, Brennan, and in the Oval Office meeting that day with President Obama.
So you think this goes all the way up to the top to President Obama?
Absolutely.
Who's going to be charged?
I have no idea. That's up to John Durham and Attorney General
Sidney,
Barr.
We got to jump, but it's great to talk with you. Congratulations, Sidney Powell.
I want to get the whole thing. Let me tell you something. If this lady says it, okay, the whole thing orchestrated that day in the Oval Office. When Peter Strzok was watching BuzzFeed and CNN with the hook on the phony dot, he knew it was a lie the whole time. Here's your takeaway. Whole thing orchestrated in the Oval Office that day. Okay? Now, Nixon, all right, We have the tapes. We have the tapes. Nixon, we have the tapes. The whole thing orchestrated in the Oval Office. A sitting president of the United States, along with the corruption of the bureaucracy, the deep state bureaucracy, said, you know what? Trump cannot be president. You, the American, is it 61 million? I don't remember. 61 million, however many. You cannot vote for Trump to be president. We cannot allow him to be president, okay? Now, they've never accepted the election results. They set all this up, and they're not going to accept the next election results. Let's talk about that when we get back. They're not going to accept the next election results. We got a problem here. But the whole thing, this is what's scary to them, whole thing orchestrated. Do you think this goes to the top? Absolutely. Do you think this goes all the way to Barack Hussein? Absolutely. It absolutely goes all the way to the top. Whole thing orchestrated in Obama's. Wait a minute. The whole thing orchestrated in your Oval Office, the American people, your White House. And let me tell you something. It's not like they went to IHOP and got the endless pancakes. And we're talking about this over some sausage and pancakes and a Happy Meal or a Grand Slam at Denny's. That's not the case. In your Oval Office, that's where the whole thing was orchestrated. And absolutely, Obama was in on it the entire time. So the media right now, all giddy, rule of law, you do not see this reported anywhere. I didn't see one word of this on MSNBC this morning. Not one word of this on CNN. Only that Flynn's a liar. Take a break. We'll be right back. We got a lot to do before we wrap up, and we only got 25 minutes.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair, and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on-site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Circuit World has 9-piece living room packages at incredible prices. Get this stylish sofa and love seat, 3 tables, 2 lamps, 43-inch 4K TV, and stand, all for only $1699.99 or $129.99 a month. Or get this 9-piece living room and reclining sofa and reclining love seat, now only $1999.99 or $149.99 a month. These packages are amazing. Stop in today at one of our 5 locations and get the furniture you've always wanted at Circuit World.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Ace is your healthful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge. We have your new house in stock.
As Georgia opens back up, it's time to come back to Days Chevrolet in Jasper with huge savings on the North Georgia Mountain's biggest selection of pre-owned vehicles. All makes, all models, all with low miles and a super low price. Or buy new and get 0% financing for 84 months on every single Silverado 1500 or Equinox at Days Chevrolet in Jasper.
Days Chevrolet, Days gets it done.
Find new roads.
Hey, folks, we're back. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. I have told you overwhelmingly that I think, all right, James Clyburn, let me give you a little research this afternoon. James Clyburn, all right, Obama says he's going to President Barack Hussein Obama says he is going to campaign vigorously. He's going to get out there on the trail. He's going to be, every time you turn around, Big O will be out there for Joe Biden. Now, James Clyburn likes Keisha Lance Bottoms. Okay, we already know about the lynching. All right, and she did her interview for Joe Biden of how she supports Joe Biden over Tara Reid. Play that video. It's a CNN video of her. Let's play that quickly because I got to get to some other things.
Speaking of leadership at the top, your name has come up in the conversation about who presumptive Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden might pick as his vice president. Congressman Jim Clyburn, who arguably propelled Biden to the nomination in South Carolina, has called you a, quote, tremendous VP candidate. Do you agree?
Well, anytime that Jim Clyburn speaks your name and he speaks it in a positive light, then that's certainly an honor. I mean, I think I'm a pretty great person. I don't know if my husband will agree with that, but I certainly think that Joe Biden has the right to pick whomever he thinks will help propel him to victory in November. So it's an honor to have my name spoken in that light. But being mayor of Atlanta right now is a more than a full-time job, continuing to lead our city, but also in the midst of COVID-19.
I have to ask you about Tara Reid, the former Biden staff member who has accused the former vice president of assaulting her in a Capitol Hill corridor in 1993. Vice President Biden denies these allegations. He says they're 100% false. Do you find Tara Reid's allegation credible?
You know, what the vice president has said has been completely accurate. He said that Tara Reid should be heard and should be taken seriously, but I think that we have to go to the next level and then vet what her allegations have been. And there's not been anyone with any objectivity who's been able to confirm that her allegations are accurate. The Joe Biden that I know is a man who respects women. And again, not just in his words, but in his deeds. He authored the Violence Against Women's Act. He's been a very vocal proponent of making sure that women are protected across our college campuses. And that's not the Joe Biden that I know.
When you talk about... No.
What about the Joe Biden we know? This is just wrong. This is wrong. I just got sent a picture of a little girl, probably about 12, and it says hiding from Biden. That's the t-shirt. T-shirt says hiding from Biden. What about the Joe Biden we know? Now, I told you that. Didn't I tell you that? Right? Haven't I talked about that? Right? Now, Stacey Abrams with her corn cob eating abilities, that was wrong. That was bad. Was that bad? Real bad. Stacey Abrams, Amy Klobuchar up there in the winter wonderland of Minnesota. She has been campaigning. And then there's the chick that was out there smoking doobies with Snoop Dogg, gin and juice herself, slept her way to the top. I feel like I'm introducing our next guest. You know her as Kamala Harris. I call her Carmel Harris. Smoking and hanging out with Spartacus during the Kavanaugh. Don't have time to get all silly right now. But okay, so we talked about that. Okay. Now, just remember something, right or wrong. I said, watch Keisha Lance Bottoms, right? Didn't I say that? I said that. I said, watch her. Second, when I said watch her, a couple weeks ago, was it 2 weeks ago? I said, remember, now, Clyburn, do your research down there in South Carolina. I want to go to the fish fry. So fish fry Clyburn down there in South Carolina does not like Stacey Abrams. Stacey Abrams and Clyburn, I mean, they're not hitting it off. Clyburn likes Keisha Lance Bottoms. Now, remember, Clyburn is the one that sent Joe's ass sailing right through Super Tuesday and got him the votes necessary to make him the front runner. Nancy Pelosi said, get your ass down there, South Carolina, and push Joe through, all the way through. Now, Clyburn has made comments concerning Keisha Lance Bottoms about Clyburn said she is a tremendous vice presidential candidate. Tremendous. She'd make a tremendous candidate. And then she says, oh, well, if James Clyburn says it, it must be true, right? And then, well, we got to check you, CNN. Can you carry the water for Joe Biden on Tara Reid? The Joe Biden I know is just not that kind of guy. There you go. Just saying. So watch, because you got to remember, okay, The vice presidential pick for Joe Biden nominee will be the next president of the United States if we let him get elected. Yeah, Joe's not going to be president, folks. No. He is in and out. They'll come up with a reason. Joe will have to take the afternoon off, and next thing you know, the doctor says he can't come back. Let me go through my pictures because I'm telling you, I know what the fear factor of the day is. And let's start with, like we did, number 11. Oh, wait a minute. Play the video where Pence, Axios.com, where Pence is telling him he wouldn't mind General Flynn being back in there. Play that video real fast.
The president has talked about bringing him back into the administration. Is that fine with you?
I think General Michael Flynn is an American patriot, and he served this country with great distinction in uniform. And now I believe the decision by the Justice Department lays bare what was clearly prosecutorial abuse. And for my part, I'd be happy to see Michael Flynn again.
I would be happy to see Michael Flynn again. Watch. I can't wait. I can't wait for the day that Trump stands up and introduces Michael Flynn once again. And he is going to make some comments. He just has to wait for this judge to sign off. And as Sidney Powell said, it's today, which the interview was yesterday morning, so it's today or tomorrow, sometime this week. The judge will sign off on this. If the judge doesn't sign off on this, he's really going it alone, and it won't go well for, well, let me just leave it alone. So number 11, Pence is not self-quarantined. He's at the White House, number 11. Here is a guy, Jeremy Diamond. Pence expected at White House today. It's like Pence going to work. Americans are going to work. Top story. Ooh, number 13, farmers, CNN in the U.S. are in dire need of assistance. Okay, they're begging it. Here's the one I really like. South Korea, panic at the disco, right? Number 14, panic at the disco. Spike in South Korean cases linked to a nightclub. 29-year-old man tested positive after visiting several clubs. Club hopping, and he's positive. Panic at the disco. Number 15, farmers in the U.S. in dire need of assistance. Oh, they will do everything. Here we go. I already told you about. Now, I don't want to go into that because I don't have time. Let's just go to number 19, Department of Justice to examine Aubrey case. Number 20, she called it a lynching. It is a lynching. They needed, let me tell you something. Democrats are really, they're excited right now. They're happy. They got Obama coming out and calling it a lynching. He's talking about it. You have the mayor down here calling it a lynching. You have a racial component. Now, how can they're sitting back and saying, we could not be any luck. Lady luck has come our way. I mean, we have this pandemic. We're going to crush this economy. It's going to be over. Nobody can get elected with 25% unemployment. We have a racial issue now, okay, that we can highlight, exasperate. Forget it. I was going for one of those big words, and I can't. I have to save my energy for tonight. Number 21, docs show top White House officials buried CDC report. Folks, CDC reports are worthless. They really are. They are determined to keep the country shut down. You would never, maybe some won't go back to work. Number 22, it's scary to go to work out there. It's scary. I have to leave right after this. Think of the fear I'm in. I have to go to White County. I have to go to Cleveland. I'm going to have to go to Cleveland, Georgia today. I mean, I'm in total fear of getting out of the house. Holy mackerel. Number 24, catastrophic disaster. Obama hits Trump's coronavirus response. Number 28, we watched the interview, right? The former president also critical of the Justice Department directing prosecutors to drop case against Michael Flynn, warning that rule of law is at risk. Number 29, Obama plans to heavily campaign for Biden. Here's one that I'm just telling you the direction they're going. The president of the United States is running against everybody, including some Republicans. Number 30, Washington Post. GOP grows nervous about losing the Senate amid worries over Trump's handling of the outbreak. Number 31, as deaths mount, Trump tries to convince Americans it's safe to inch back to normal. Inch back. Some of the president's advisors described the president as glum and shell-shocked by his declining popularity. Let me tell you something. There's two things that President Donald Trump is not. He's not glum and he doesn't get shell-shocked. Okay? Number 32, Republicans grow nervous. 32, Republicans grow nervous about losing the Senate amid worries over Trump's handling of the pandemic. GOP senators have forced into a difficult political dance as polling shifts in favor of Democrats. Down ballot. Now, let me say this, okay? When Peter Pan Buttigieg, now, and remember what Joe Biden said, like it or not, he actually put it out there to be true. If Bernie Sanders is the nominee and Peter Pan Buttigieg is the nominee, down ballot races are a disaster, okay? Disaster. The reason Biden, I once said on this show, it may still apply, but I once said on this show when they were saying down ballot races would be a disaster if Bernie was the nominee or Peter Pan Buttigieg. The reason they had Joe Biden as the nominee, not because they thought he would win. That was before what they thought he would just at least hold down ballot. Now they hope he wins also. 33, Republicans grow nervous about losing the Senate amid worries over Trump handling of the pandemic. Number 34, okay, in private conversations, he has struggled to process how his fortune suddenly changed from believing he was on a glide path to re-election to realizing he is losing to likely Democrat nominee Vice President Joe Biden in virtually every poll, including his own campaign's internal surveys. He's so glum. Number 35, Trump's 2020 campaign strategy amid COVID. Now, yes, we've got the whistleblower here, number 36. All right. Number 38, Rick Bright, former director of the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority. We have the next potential impeachment reason, or to go with the reason they must impeach again Donald J. Trump. Number 39, I will never lie to you. Okay. Here is the group they assembled. Number 40, Donald Trump's impact on 2020 GOP election. This is the group they said. Look at the shrinkadink. Do you know the shrinkadink who he is? That's old raisin face Sharpton, Al Sharpton, raisin face shrinkadink. It's like somebody put him in the oven and he shrunk right up. Number 41, again, grows nervous. I just show you the different bylines under these people. 42, Trump spends Mother's Days tweeting and retweeting over 100 times. Here it is. I really would like for you to come up with the, I'd like to do a caption for this picture. GOP growth, no, not this one, not this one, not this one. Number 44, Trump on staffer testing positive. Number 45, I showed you this earlier, scary to go to work. How can we keep moving in this country? Number 46, knowing the U.S. nearly 81,000 COVID-19 deaths. Not true. Numbers are not correct. Here it is, a case of what? I mean, wouldn't you like to put a case of whoop ass on this boy, number 47? Okay. U.S. confirms more than 1.3 million cases of what? Will you take this picture and give me something on it, all right? Here are the 3 that will testify that are quarantined right now because they were close to somebody. 48. 51. Top White House officials buried CDC advice on reopening. We will never reopen. Never. Okay. And this weekend, 2 greats. Little Richard. Remember Little Richard? Okay. I know the songs very well. My mom raised us on Little Richard songs, Jerry Lee Lewis. So Little Richard died this weekend. And Jerry Steller died this weekend. Sad weekend for some of our top stars there. Don't forget tonight at 6 p.m. At 6 p.m. I will be in Cleveland, Georgia. We will be on fyntv.com. I will be moderating a debate between the probate judge candidates for White County. And at 7:45, I will be moderating a debate for the sheriff candidates for White County. I'm going to take off now. I've got to get a couple minutes early. I've got to get stuff wrapped up here, get loaded up, get started over to White County again tonight at 6, and I will be back tomorrow morning. If you're a mother out there and, hey, it's not Sunday, let me just say happy Mother's Day to everybody. And I don't know what else I have to do today. What else do I have to do? A debate tonight? We'll figure it out. I'll see you tomorrow morning. I'll be drowsy tomorrow morning. I'll tell you right now. I'm going to get home like, what time will I get home? 7:45, 8:45, 9, hour and a half. Woo! I might not get home till Tuesday, but I will be here, 8 a.m. Take us out of here.